The more we learn about the Albanese government's proposed constitutionally entrenched Indigenous voice to the Parliament, well, the more concerning it seems. The Prime Minister has told us, should a referendum succeed, that there will be a voice, that it will advise the government and the Parliament on matters concerning Indigenous Australians, and that the Parliament can further decide bigger roles and responsibilities. Well, now this. Over the weekend, it's been reported Indigenous Affairs Minister Linda Burney said that the voice would play a leading role in treaty negotiations. Now, that's already happening in Victoria, where an Indigenous entity elected by fewer than 10% of Victorians' Indigenous voters is designing a framework for future treaty negotiations to, and I quote, tackle the racist legacies of invasion. It's already funded to the tune of some 20 million, with 60 odd million in the budget. Now you can see where this federal voice, should it be established, will go, can't you? It's a lot more than just an advisory body. Indeed, the Prime Minister's already said only a brave government, and I quote, would ignore it. It will also become a treaty council, as the Minister has conceded, and then a so-called truth-telling council. Then inevitably, we saw this over the weekend in the UN, a reparations council as well. This is the almost unavoidable consequence of establishing as constitutionally entrenched an entity that only Aboriginal people can vote for, that only Aboriginal people can run for, and that deals with whatever impacts Aboriginal people, which is everything. It'll be a never-ending lobby for some, a lobby for some against everyone else. And it's already happening in New Zealand, where the Maori are about 15% of the population, and we're under the 1840 Treaty of Waitangi. There's always been a founding compact there. They're headed for co-governance, and the voice in Australia will head us the same way. Only in our case, everything our government does for 100% of the population will have to be negotiated with the voice which will represent just 4% of the population. I can't think of anything that would divide our country more, and I also fear that the voice risks making voters reluctant to support great Aboriginal parliamentarians like Senator Jacinta Price, because the feeling will be, well, they've got their own race-based body. Price can just run for that, rather than what we have now, and that's a parliament that's truly representative of all of us. And while it's conventional wisdom that referendums fail without clear bipartisan support, don't be so sure on this one. The government will try and shame people into voting yes on the basis that anything else is somehow disrespectful to Aboriginal people, perhaps even racist. And the reports too the other day that indicate the government won't fund either a yes campaign or a no campaign, but it will use your money to fund a supposedly neutral civics campaign. Now, you are kidding me. I've seen this movie before. You can be sure that the so-called neutral campaign will claim that our constitution is somehow deficient without Aboriginal recognition. And you can be sure that woke public companies, the industry lobby, the superannuation funds, woke billionaires will all bankroll the yes case because they'll think it'll give them PR acclaim. And that'll leave the no case scrabbling for support from mums and dads that bothered to send in their $50 or $100. Don't underestimate our constitutional peril here and the impact this change would have. I can't think of anything we could do to ourselves that would cause more damage to our country than dividing ourselves by race and then entrenching that division in our founding document.